out there that you want to go and share this with. Okay, so we actually started making meals and farm produce, and what we believe the Lord told us to do was to go and take his food chain back and put it inside the church. There's going to come a time when this church needs food. Okay, so we have been taking the food chain back and we're putting it back inside the church. But you know what? It's hard to get the church involved. They're lazy little monkeys, you know, seriously. And you know, anyway, I'm going to cover a bit more of that in a little while. Not the lazy little monkeys thing, but something else. And we're just taking it back. So we've got some rare breeds. We don't do any commercial breeds, right? Because also it's a purity of the food chain, right? Non-contamination. Okay, there's certain things we don't do because the Lord's told us not to do. And did you know the water buffalo tastes just like beef? We do beef as well, but water buffalo tastes just like beef, but it lowers your cholesterol naturally. So you can eat this red meat, and actually after a few months, it will actually halve your cholesterol down. I mean, it's just brilliant. So it's all about healthy eating. Our farmers, we've got a network of farmers over the country, and they farm high welfare. They farm our methodology, okay? And that means no routine antibiotics. Yes, if something gets sick, you use antibiotics. But you know that most of the food that you get given today, those animals are on routine antibiotics. Yeah. And and that's actually bad for us. Do you know, actually, while I'm on the subject, you can go and actually check this out to see if I'm lying. But if you go onto the NHS website, you'll find 2 government health warnings on eating chicken. Don't want to put you off chicken, but it's true, okay? And one is actually linked to the amount of antibiotics, because when that chicken is first born, the antibiotics is in the water. It drinks antibiotics all day long. And then you eat that, and then when you become sick and you need antibiotics, when I was a kid years ago, right, you only ever went to the doctors and had 1 course of antibiotics and it cleared up. Now you're going back and getting 2 or 3 sets of antibiotics, you know? Can you see me now? Yeah.
We just shut the blinds because we're recording it.
All right. No, that's fine, yeah. Just do what you want, yeah. I'm just, I've got more of a radio voice than a TV voice. That's the only thing I worry about. So we actually take this food. Now, here's our claim to fame. We have actually become we're set up to supply Morrison's nationally. So our brand will be in the supermarket. Woohoo! Yeah, wow, I tell you, you don't know how much pain we've been through. But what's special about this is the following. Just 2 things, if you take away 2 things, okay? First one is this. We wanted to bring uncontaminated food, healthy food, to the public without a premium. Why should the rich just be able, as soon as they put the word organic on it, they charge you 3 times as much? Why? You know, just to have, why is it that only the wealthy can afford uncontaminated food? That's not how God wants it, you know? So we thought, okay, well, we'll really teach them. So we can make, so you can buy produce, burgers, sausages, all that sort of thing, mince, you know, diced buffalo, diced beef and all that sort of stuff. And if you compare our prices on our mince, we're cheaper than Tesco's, we're cheaper than Morrison's, we're cheaper than Asda. Oh yes, say wow a bit more, come on.
Yes.
Yes. And I can feel this is an audience participation. Okay? And then also, we do oven produce meals as well. So you can actually take a whole meal and pop it in the oven. So we've already pre-cooked the meat that comes in its own tray and gravy, like you might want a beef medallion or something, it pops in. You might want partimentier potatoes in a different tray, roasted root veg, and it all goes in. Everything's in separate trays so don't get contaminated. A 450 gram meal, so you think, is that going to fill me up? Well, let me tell you, a Big Mac meal is 320 grams, because I woke up at 5 o'clock this morning and checked it out. Straight up, that is true. I've got it written on my phone. So you can check it if you don't need. 5 o'clock in the morning, Lord, wake up, check out a Big Mac meal. What? Are you kidding me? And I seriously checked out a Big Mac meal. So we're 450 grams. And a Big Mac meal costs £4.79. Check that out, at 5:05. £3 for a meal, delivered to your front door. And it's a 450 gram meal, and it's healthy. But here's the good thing. Every time you buy that meal, it gives another meal to someone else. The same. Hey, Shabba. We're going to give you a choice of where you shop, you know, and this product, our shopping experience will just keep increasing. On my phone, right, I was going to show you, but we realised we didn't have a projector. I was going to show you actually a video that we've got, but you take down our details, right? Afterwards, come and see us. What you need to you need to visit www.yourfarmermeals.com, and you need to go on there, and there's a video that tells you about the app. You download the app, you can then shop. It's a very pleasant experience. When you get to the unpleasant experience, it's called the checkout. Okay, we've made it slightly sweeter, because when you get there and it says to you, yeah, you owe me 40 quid, it'll also tell you that you've just donated X amount of meals and where do you want them to go. And you've probably just like given, you know, 12, 15 meals to somebody else who are going to get exactly the same food, and they're going to feast. You're going to spend that £40 anyway, but now you spend it and you do good. Okay, so what's my job offer? Let me tell you a bit about that. So we're looking to recruit food angels. These food angels, let me just tell you a little bit about it. The job adverts goes live on Monday, so you're getting a news flash before it hits the stream. Okay, so what we're looking to do is recruit people that actually want to grow these food banks. So let's say that you were called Grace. So Grace has a food bank in Nottingham, right? So we've got the Your Farmer Food Bank Nottingham, and we employ Grace to actually start building that up. She rings up a couple of friends, and she says to those, or 3 friends in a day, yeah, let's say she sends 2 hours in the day, and she tells them about this app, gets them to download it, gets them to look, they look at it, they check out the prices, it's all good, and they go, yeah, we'll try that. This is all farm produce, okay? 3 people start shopping. And then we say, okay, also Grace, do this. Just ask them, could they refer 2 other people that want to help fight off food poverty? So they give you 6 names. So now you've got another 6 people that you can just speak to. So if every day, right, for 5 days, Grace spoke to 3 people, got them to download the app and join in with this, because she's a food angel. In her part-time, she will earn £37,440 through the year. Because, £37,440 by the end of 12 months if she does that, right? Because we are giving her 10% of the revenue, we're tithing to her. Not of her profit, we're going to give her 10% of her revenue.
I'm in.
You're in. Look, seriously, okay? This is what she gets. Now, if you want to work more than a couple of hours, and don't bring just 3 in each day, and what that is based on, our average spend that people spend with us is actually £43. That's averaged on £40 as the average spend, okay? And it's also based on someone only buying twice a month from us, okay? It's high quality food, they do it, they repeat with us, we can show you, you can visit us and everything else. And Grace will earn £37,440. And every time that person spends, they register to you, it's your income. You'll earn even more year 2, even more year 3. You will get paid to be a food angel. We're giving you 10%, but then you can now release yourself into ministry. Hey, Shabba. We can fund kingdom projects. Hey, ladies and gents, help us recruit food angels wherever they are in the country. Share it. Let's get them on board. People need money right now because they're struggling. People need food. By the way, you also get discount on buying our food as well. You'll save money from that. There's loads of pluses. The Lord gave us this strategy, told us go and now recruit the food angels. We are getting to Morrison's. We will make good out of Morrison's. If everything comes through with there, they will sell about 150,000 meals a month, and we'll have 150,000 to give away. But we're not building it on solid ground. We want to build through the church solid ground. So that's why we want the food angels. But we don't expect anybody to work for free. It's not scriptural. It's not scriptural. So that's my commercial over. Excited though?
Yes, it's fabulous.
That's it. There's the Your Farmer website. And then if you go on and you download, if you've got an Apple, you go to the Apple store. If you've got an Android, you go to the Google, and then you download the Your Farmer app, totally free of charge, obviously. and then you can look at all the different products. You can actually see the prices and everything else, and people can just shop. And if you order by 1 o'clock, you get your delivery by 5 o'clock the next day to your house, anywhere in the country.
It's good, Colin.
Yeah.
Apart from a Friday.
Apart from Friday, yes, because we can't afford to do Saturday deliveries with Amazon, with DPD, because we're not Amazon. And until our money spend goes up with them, they won't let us have Saturday and Sunday deliveries. So at the moment, I'm sorry, we can't do the Saturday and Sunday delivery because they won't give us that service. Because online has just gone crazy and everybody's using those boys, and we're just not treated with priority yet. But watch this space. So that's the commercial. Yeah, good though, isn't it? It's really good. I mean, this is good. Yeah, it's exciting. Ladies, gents, join us. Be the first food angels that we ever recruit. Yeah, and the word is recruit. So, okay. So now I'm gonna mess with your brains. All right. I don't normally ever use one of these. This is as high tech as I go. What I want to do is I want to share something with you. I'm going to have to explain a little bit about my background. This is the most complicated piece I'm going to tell you because it's boring, because it's about me. And if you're bored, you don't concentrate. Do you know what I mean? So I just ask you just to concentrate a little bit on my sad life. And then actually this little thing that I'm going to show you on there is going to make a lot of sense. Then you'll get excited. Then I'm going to dip you back down and annoy you by actually telling you stuff that's really going to challenge you. Then we're going to become friends again. And we'll flip a coin to see what happens by the time you leave, all right? Because it could go either way. So, I've worked in IT for many years. I've had a blessed career, and I give thanks to the Lord on that. You know, including like I had the worst stammer. I couldn't speak. The Lord's healed me. Hey, I'm dyslexic. I couldn't read or write. Yeah, I ran a PLC company. I've been board members. All thanks to the Lord. But I worked in an industry sector that was, and you know, it's only, I'm laughing because I know what I'm about to say. It's only recently that the Lord really said to me, God, you're Charlie. You know, I've worked in the field of what's known as interpretation. And he sort of said, but you've made your whole career out of interpretation. You see, now, this is what I'm called to interpret. Okay. Do you know? We was talking about this with Pete and with Paula. Do you know how many? His number's higher than mine, but we'll go with my number because that's the one I can sort out. Yours is probably right, but I'm going to quote mine if that's okay. Do you know how many denominations in the Christian faith there are that follow the Bible? How many denominations? Yeah, like you got your Methodists, you got this, your Baptists, you got this, and da da da. How many denominations are there that follow Christianity and the Bible? Anyone want to guess? Without a hint? No? 41,000 registered. How many did you say? 50. I found 41,000 denominations of the Christian faith following the same book. Bonkers! We don't need any enemies. We've got 41,000 relatives that can't agree. I mean, blimey. Same book, 41,000 different interpretations. So, let me tell you about my background. So, use technology to interpret. Okay, so you fill in a form for a credit card. You write it in the tick boxes. Do you remember you used to have the little separated cones to put your little your name, the C, then the O in the next box, the L, the I, the N. You know, that's because they were going to scan that. Okay, that's previous technology. It's much better today. And what they would do is they would put it through a scanner, and then the computer would read that handwriting and say, oh yeah, his name's Colin, and his surname is Kaye, and it would do the interpret. It would actually interpret the handwriting. Interpretation. That's what I've been all involved in. And of course, then they wanted to read cursive writing, and they wanted to do this, wanted to do that, and artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, I mean, we have not seen the computer revelation yet, the technology bit. It's just about to happen, honestly, and it's going to destroy many people. Because within very few years, you know, you will have self-drive cars, there won't be taxi drivers, there won't be bus drivers. I mean, there's going to be, you know, literally titanium robots will actually be filling the shelves in Morrison's. I mean, instead of going down the aisle with a trolley with a human, there'll be a little gap in between the two in the middle there that will run down and will just fill the shelves from behind. Technology is already there. So I'm going to tell you this, because actually, I worked for a company that was the leading company in this. And it actually does it, but what it does, it actually makes mistakes. So, like, is that an A or is it a B? Is that an S or is it a 5? But it makes these decisions based on the knowledge that a human tells it to make decisions on. Okay, you're making decisions every day based on the knowledge that you have of this or the knowledge you have of your life. Okay, so and what they do this thing called a bake-off. So company A go scan it, and it sort of like does it all, and it says, yeah, you know, I got 99% correct, because it produces a report. Yeah, because there's certain things I say to you, you know, oh, when's Jesus coming back? You'll just tell me because you've got an understanding on it and you believe it. It might be wrong, but you'll tell me. And then there's a question I say to you, well, you know, what was the name of Joseph's third cousin? And you don't know, and you say, well, I don't know. So just like with the computer, there's things that it will know, and there's things that it will tell me very confidently that's right, that could be wrong. I'm sure you're right, by the way. I didn't mean to point it in. And that's how it works. And it produces a report at the end that says I'm 99% accurate. Okay, so then, okay, but we need a truth table. Now this is what the Lord said to me. He said, Colin, I want you to start doing a truth table. What's the truth table then? So that, I run all these forms through, it reads it all, and it says it was 99% accurate, and it gives me the two things it didn't know. But there's false positives in there. It actually guessed that something was a 5 and it was an S. It guessed something was a B, but it was an A. But it believes it's right. A truth table is when I use a human being to type it all by hand, and a second human being to type it all by hand, and a third human being to type it all by hand, and all those three outputs match. Now I have a truth table. Now I take what the computer done, and I match it, not against what it thinks it's right, but it matches it against the truth table, and it wasn't 99% accurate. It only come in at 70. Now you see, if I opened a new church tomorrow, and I actually, well, no, let's do this. Okay, bit of reading, guys, okay? My high tech, this is my wife's lovely handwriting. Can you read that? Guys, you read it? Do you find this simple to read? Because of the phenomenal power of the human mind and the power of interpretation, most people do. But it's a load of nonsense that's on the page. What you're doing is you're using your knowledge. You're actually using a methodology in the human brain called trigrams. And actually computers copy trigrams. And you're doing that. Now what actually happens, you see, there's one rule for you to be able to read that. I'm going to spoil the magic here. And it's the first letter and the last letter need to be correct. And it can be a mess in the middle. But do you know what? We don't even agree on the first and last book in this. Genesis. And then when we get to Revelation, well, you could lose 70% of your friends in that one. Isn't it? We don't even have the first and the last letters correct in here to do the interpretation. But that's the magic there, first and last. If we had the first and last one, maybe we wouldn't have 41,000 denominations. Hey, there's something. Hey. So the problem is, newsflash, what you believe may not be the truth. You may need to find a new truth table. So, here we go. I open a new church tomorrow. It's called Cole's Church. Okay, it's a great place. All right, I open it. And I've got a slogan, right? My slogan is this: 100% healings. How about that? You know, quite a few of the churches in my town would actually point at me and say, false prophet. Wouldn't they? They would. Why? Because, why? Why would they do that? But they would. Because we made the church the truth table and not the word.
Wow.
They've become the truth table. People, rather than the Holy Spirit teaching us, has become the truth table. So, let me ask you this. If I said to you, Matthew 17, okay, let me just help you out, yeah? Matthew 17 is the story of the boy that suffers from the epileptic fits, that has the seizures, yeah? And normally I pick on people, okay, but I'm feeling really in a great mood today, so I'm not going to do that, Peter. So what happened? No, go on, I will. No. Yeah, you can tell that. Yeah, never mind about that. Yeah, shut up. Okay. So that story. Just think of the story in your head. You don't have to tell it out loud. And I'll tell you how I would have described that story. Okay. This is where, seizures. Remember, Jesus gone up the mount, so he's not around. Dad brings him, sees the disciples. Disciples pray for him, but he don't get healed. Okay. Jesus comes back down from the mount. Okay. Father of the boy is still lurking around, pounces on Jesus. Jesus then actually prays for him, heals him, whatever, yeah. And then later on, the disciples say, how come this didn't work for us? And Jesus said, yes, yes. Wrong. That is only in the New King James Version, verse 21. It's also in the Amplified Version because the Amplified Version is written off of the New King James. It's not in any other version of the Bible because it's not in the original text. Check me out. Go and do the research. Don't have to believe me. What version of the Bible you got? Anyone got a Bible with them? That's not a New King James? Or a King James? Or an Amplified? Go on, you're smiling, you got one. Yeah? Go to it. Okay? Matthew 17, verse 21, it isn't there. You got verse 21? You feel under pressure now? No, good. Okay, cool. I'm going to carry on. If anyone finds it in another book, let me know. Another version. Okay.
It's not in this version.
No. Which version you got? ESV.
My one's complete Jewish one.
Okay. ESV is not in that one. No. It's not on the NIV. It's not in any. It's only in King James, and then actually the Amplified Version is written off the King James. They're the only one that's in. What's my point? My point is not that I'm actually back here got a nice bunch of NIV Bibles I want to sell you. Alright? Along with a load of homemade chutneys and pickles and some beautiful cheese sandwiches that my mother made. No. So I'm not trying to sell you any Bibles here, guys. What I'm trying to say to you is, you didn't even, so what's your name? Right. You didn't even have that in the version that you're looking at, but yet you was the guy that said because prayer and fasting. Right? Okay. See, we've been taught it by the church. I'm not against the church, I love the church. Okay? But it's not even in your version of the Bible. And yet, that's the way you tell me the story. Now, why is this important? Okay. It's important because of this. Right? So I go off somewhere, right? And I've gone to actually, I need to see a healing. And I don't see it. And then on the way back, me and Debs, disappointed, in the car, but we go, do you know what? Don't worry. We just need to pray and fast more. That's what we need to do. We've now made it acceptable to not carry out the Lord's instruction to go and heal the sick. Because we've got something in our head that's a false positive. Was it a 5? Was it an S? I've got a false positive in me. So there's a stronghold I have to pull down. Hey, Shabba. Hey. Do you like watching podcasts? Yeah, I mean, I watch loads of different podcasts, I have to confess, right? It's actually because she reads at the speed of light. I mean, you know, when she's got her Kindle, I think, why do you bother, love? Because she's just like this. The pages are flicking over. Me, I'm on the same page for hours, you know what I mean? So the podcast is a quicker way, you know. I mean, audio Bible, yeah, get through it really quick. If I'm waiting to read it, I'm here forever. But anyway. Who's actually ever been watching or involved in, you know, teaching that's teaching you how to pray for the sick? Some say do it this way, that way. Anyone ever watched anything on that? Yeah, me too. Yeah. Anyone else watched some stuff and teachings on how to pray for the sick? Yeah. Okay, so here's the next thing. Everyone's getting weary about owning up to anything with me now, aren't they? Seriously, we'll leave as friends, I guarantee you, because I'll just say sorry to you when you leave. Here's the thing. Can anyone find me anywhere in the Bible that says to pray for the sick? Shout it out if you can. Yeah, where?
It's in James chapter, say, call the elders and they will lay hands on you.
That's right. Not pray. And they can anoint them in oil. No pray. Now, the typical one you could have thrown at me would have been Jesus when he was actually praying for Lazarus to raise him from the dead. Okay? Does anyone know, though, what that piece of scripture actually is? Save the Bible loading in at the moment. Yeah, let me just tell you what it actually does say. Check it afterwards. And if I'm wrong, then you can, you know, phone me up, come see me. But what he actually says is that he arrives there and he says, Father, I'm speaking to you not for the benefit of me, but for these. Yeah? And then this is what he says. He says, so they will see that what I ask, you do. Right? He's not praying. He's saying, I am doing this to you so they see here, right, that what I command, you do. And then he turns. He's not making a request to the Lord. He turns around and then he shouts out, wake up, come out. Okay. See, because if I employed Pete here, right, to come and be a van driver for us, because we've got the Your Farmer meals, all you guys have been brilliant food angels, okay, and we've actually got 150 deliveries to do. So I said, Pete, I want you as a van driver. Can you come and deliver 150 parcels for me? And he goes, yeah. I said, right, see you Monday morning, 9 o'clock. He turns up. And I go, there you go. There's 150 parcels over there. Can you deliver them? And then Pete says, where's the van? You know, I'm not. What? I ain't giving you a van. Go and do it. You would say, that's unfair. You're not going to tell someone to do something and actually get them to do a job and not give them the tools. It actually says, go and heal the sick. You're equipped. You're equipped. Doesn't tell you to check in with me. You know, and then I hear all this rubbish, right? That actually says, well, if it's your will, Lord, to heal them. If it is your Lord, sweet Jesus, to heal them. He did say that if you're a bit late, raise them from the dead. Of course it's his will. I mean, because he put in the safety net, if you are a slow coach, raise them from the dead. I mean, where, you know, and then they go, well, it's just not, it's in his timing, isn't it? Is it? Show me where it's in his timing. Show me. Do you know? Okay, so you could say, well, why didn't Jesus hurry up and go back and actually with Mary and Martha and actually heal him? Check it out, what it actually says. Hey, Shabba. Hey. Oh, he says, because I so love them, I'm going to wait 2 more days. If he's late showing up for you, you think he don't love you.
Wow.
He actually says, because I love them, I so love them, I'm going to wait 2 days. Oh, you can't afford to put faith inside an envelope of time because it's no faith. You see, he was talking to me the other day. I went to a school, okay, it's hard to believe the way I talk, but I did. I went to a school, it's called Van Dyke Upper, and I went back there as a grown-up. And, you know, when you're actually in the school, it's a senior school, right? You know what I mean, yeah, last school thing. You're not allowed to use the front door, you mustn't do this. There's loads of rules that the kids mustn't do, you know, you don't use those toilets and da-da-da-da-da, yeah. Yeah, but when I went back as an adult, right, I didn't go all the way back around the back and sort of like go in the back entrance. I went in through the front reception, right? I used the grown-up toilets and everything else, right? Because those rules don't apply to me. So why do you put God inside time when he's outside? It don't apply to him. You're not going to go somewhere and abide by rules that aren't actually, that you're not under. You just won't do that. You will go places and you will operate outside the rules because you know you're above them. But yet, you want God to do things inside time. And then, when it doesn't happen, your faith is gone. That's what the enemy wants. You're using circumstance to interpret. You see, when Jesus turned up, read that bit, what he said to Mary and Martha. And we've got like 2 of them. One of them is actually, you know, this is how I interpret it, is like, you know, do you know what? I ain't going to come out and meet you. I'm sort of finished with you. Couldn't turn up for me. I ain't going to come out and meet you. The other one goes out and meets and says, well, I know that if you'd have turned up, it would have happened, it'd have got sorted. Yeah, hell, it'd have got sorted inside your ability of understanding. Which your understanding is always going to be in an envelope of time. It's not for him. He can come up with a different solution because he's not restrained by time. You cannot make a plan that will be like his. Let me tell you a little bit about the plans that we made. I will come back to this, yeah? We actually had a farm. We had some Christian investors. It didn't work out well, okay? In fact, I would say that it worked out really badly because we lost everything. And actually, I'm going to make the story really short. We got stripped of the herd of water buffalo we had, that, we lost everything, you know? And of course, all the people in the church, different churches around us, you know, they all sort of point, yeah, I told you you wouldn't last. Yeah? Old wonky Holy Spirit geezer, you know? And you get this sort of condemnation. Let me tell you this, that within 9 months, we'd got another farm, another herd of water buffalo, and everything was even bigger and better. Okay? And we've also now, this little like nobodies, have got 4 farms given to us in Israel. Okay? And right, just outside, we're feeding the Ethiopian Jews that are returning back to Israel. Right? But this is what I wanted to point out, right? To the world, it looked like we were being stripped.
Come on.
But we were being pruned for expansion because it looks the same. But here's where you've got to be careful. It feels the same if you don't trust. If you haven't got the faith, and if you're going to set things in time, and if you're going to actually lean on your own understanding, that will feel like you've been stripped. And then you could give up. You see, how we interpret things is so important. Think about Paul. So, I mean, man, what stuff he went through, eh? You know? I mean, seriously, if we're going to be only as good as their circumstances that day, we're an easy target for the devil just to mess around with us. And the trouble is, a lot of Christians are only as good as their circumstance. Yet it tells you that you're going to have persecution and a tough time.
Yeah.
But the trouble is, we bring people in to the church again on false truth. We've made it a beneficial gospel.
Yeah.
It's like, come in here, sit down. There you go, Mr. Flesh, and you're going to get an improvement on the car. Your salary's going to increase. You know, they're talking over you all the things that the flesh wants. Yeah, but if you actually speak the truth, it's actually, well, you're going to get persecuted. Life could be pretty. I mean, yeah, it's not, you know, and this is why we've even invented different things in Revelation. You know, who in the room, everyone's going to be worried about putting their hands up on this one, right? Who in the room believes in pre-trib rapture? Who believes in that? Who believes in mid-trib rapture? Who believes you're here till the end? One person. The rest of you didn't go with it, did you? You know? I mean, we've made even the book of Revelation a beneficial gospel. You're here till the end. And if you want to go through it with us, we can go through. Get a book, right? It's just a Bible study, right? The Bible study is a book by a guy called Michael Snyder. It's called The Revelation, Rapture Revealed, right? And it's just a Bible study. The first half of the book is a Bible study telling you why you're here till the end. The second half of the book is looking at the scripture used for mid-trib and pre-trib. Pre-trib and mid-trib. And that scripture can't mean that. I mean, let me just throw one thing out there, yeah? Is everybody aware that it actually says in the Bible, don't take the mark of the beast? Yeah, it says, it'll be worse for those people, you know, than days of Sunday, it's really bad news if you take the mark of the beast. Okay, right. So, if you just want to run through the timelines, I'm doing this very quickly, but I can back it all up scripturally for you, okay? But what actually happens is that mark of the beast actually it comes in, the earliest, I'm going to tell you that it could come in, right? Is actually, the tribulation is a 7-year period. After 3.5 years of the first part of the tribulation, before it gets really sort of like heavy going, the Antichrist declares himself in the temple that's going to be re-established in Jerusalem, and he says, I'm God. And then he says, and actually, you guys now, I want you to actually have this little like mark to actually show that you're part of my gang. Yeah, you're in my gang. Yeah. Now, the earliest that can happen is 3.5 years plus 1 day, if everyone went off and done it the next day, right? Which it could be a month after, 2 months after, or who knows, right? But 3.5 years and 1 day, right? So, hang on, let's just work it out. Pre-tribbers, they went at the beginning of the first 7 years, so they're not here. Mid-tribbers, 3.5 years, they went. So it's 3.5 years and 1 day is the earliest that could be announced. So did God forget we weren't going to be here? Because he told us not to take the mark of the beast, but according to the rapture, there ain't anybody here. So did God forget that we weren't going to be here? No, of course he didn't forget. I mean, got to look at what false positives we have in our mindset. You know, it's like this. You know, there's different things as well. You'll see what you want to see. Anyone just got a new car? You did, didn't you? Anyone else got a new car? No. Think of when you got the last car you got. Think what make it is. Think what colour it is. You probably didn't see any of those until you got a car. That colour, that make, and then the next 4 days that you go out, you pass 150 of them.
I know.
Yeah,
It's true.
it is. You see what you're aware of. So let me tell you this. He's waiting for the bride of Christ to get ready. So I challenge you, what do you think it means? Okay? When we had him encounter, we come out knowing one of the things it meant. You're going to have to survive that 7-year period. If you don't believe you're here in the 7 year, you ain't going to plan to be through. You're not going to plan for something you don't believe in. Fair dues, right? But think about this. Think that you have been chosen for this time. Start looking at the world events. Start seeing what we're in. Start looking at the book of Revelation. Start also believing 100% that he didn't go to the cross just to die for your sin. He went to the cross because of your perceived value of what you're worth to him now. Your destiny that he wrote for you. Maybe he wrote for you a destiny that actually included feeding people through the last 7 years. If you ain't going to be here, you're never going to put that in your thoughts of what he designed for you to do. Do you see what I'm saying? It's so important that we understand things correctly. Let me go back to Paul for a moment and circumstances and everything else. So, let's just go a bit. Hey, let's do the bit where he gets shipwrecked. Okay? You know that bit, yeah? So he's on the boat, blah, 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 and it gets shipwrecked and ends up on the island of Malta. But what did he say to everybody? My God said, because he had the angel appear. My God said, right? What did his God say? His God say that not one single man would perish. Now, if you'd have been me, if he was me, if I was him, I don't know which way I would have drawn that one, right? I would actually be saying, because you see, assumption and interpretation. Don't worry. The boat's going to be fine. No one's going to perish. We're okay, boys. But it didn't. The boat got smashed up in the storm. But no one did perish.
Wow.
How we interpret things again. And all of a sudden you could be disappointed when you're floating around on a little piece of wood. You know? How can you trust that? It's like the Titanic gone wrong, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? You're bobbing around. He told me. No, what he told you was no one would perish. So where am I going? I'm going with this, right? It tells us there's going to be a generation who totally believe in the impossible. I would challenge you to say that your knowledge that you have in your head right now is not a truth table, the correct truth table. And therefore, you are not seeing the impossible.
Wow.
Because actually, you're not believing in it. He says, how do I see the works of the Father? Believe. All the way through. Right? Believe, 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 believe. That's what you get. Yeah? What you've actually got is a mixture of people's teachings that have got mixed up with interpretation of circumstances. We haven't even got the first letter and the last letter of these books right in the Bible. So it's really getting screwed when we start to interpret it. Right? And yet we are called, go heal the sick, cast out demons, raise the dead. This was the Great Commission. And if I actually start publicising that stuff, and I'm going to do it in my town, I'll tell you now, right, there's going to be a whole load of denominations, if I roughly guess, probably the Baptists will be at the front, and having a go at me that I'm a false prophet. Why? Because actually, I believe in, all I'm doing is interpreting this book correctly. Now, let's look at, do you want to, we could pick a subject, we could actually say, let's look at where all the people were raised, right, from the dead, right? Let's see Jesus modelled, right? You're not a disciple of Pastor Chris or this person or that person, right? We're a disciple of Jesus Christ. He was perfect theology on legs. Let's look at it. Let's see what he done, And then you see people like, who are we going to pick on? Hey, Peter. Peter raised Tabitha. What did he do? He moved unbelief out of the room. Why? Because his master showed that. Now you could go to raise someone for the dead, right? Someone could actually, this is a true story I'm going to tell you, right? A pastor friend of mine actually went to pray for someone to raise them from the dead. He didn't see the miracle. And I said, who phoned you and asked you? I can't remember the guy's name, we'll just call him Steve. He said, oh, Steve asked me. I said, well, was you with Steve? He said, yeah. I said, but if he asked you to go and do it, he didn't have the belief to do it. So you had unbelief in the room. Let's just see what's been modelled. And yeah, we've just got to understand. And also, you are starting to make a truth table born from your experiences. Are you believing in it? are you truly believing in it? I mean, I've always said ever since their encounter, right, I know I'm going to raise someone from the dead. I lost my mum 2 years ago, and I rushed over there, and I was just going to pray for my mum, and I was going to raise her from the dead. And I'd never seen a dead person before. And I walked into the care home. My mum had Alzheimer's, dementia, and I walked into her room, and the presence of the Lord was just in this room. It was unbelievable, and there was so much peace there, and I knew that's where my mum was meant to be. So I've still not had an opportunity to pray for anybody for the dead, but I believe in it. I mean, when we first had the encounter, this is a true story, you might think we're really sick people. We chased ambulances. If I heard a siren, we'd get in the car, see if we could keep up with it. Because we were going to pray for it, honestly. That's, yeah, you may think that we're crazy and everything. We never broke the law, so we never kept up with the ambulances, okay? So we're not bad people, all right? But no, it's like, guys, why not? Why are you not believing in all this? Your truth table's gone. Got time now to make a new truth table, right? You've got to do it now. Tell you what, it's ever so hard. I'm not saying it's easy. Because, of course, the first thing is, you don't know that it's a lie. See, you really got to keep going back to Jesus. You know, now I say many times, and those people that have heard me speak before, yeah, you have to suffer this, right? No apology, because it's something that you've really got to understand, okay? It's this. I don't care what you know. I don't care what you understand. I don't care what you agree with. Because your life is only a witness to what you believe. And what you know, what you understand, and what you're in agreement with is not the same as your belief system. And just understand this, right? It's by faith that we please Him, yeah? Yes. But your faith can only access what you believe. It can't access anything else. So if you haven't got your belief table is a truth table, you are never going to do greater things than He, which is what He claimed you were called to do. Have I gone over time? I forgot to even know what time it's died. Sorry, I'll wrap up. Apologies. I'm in my own world. You know, I enjoy it and I just carry on. That's the trouble. But anyway, so I will wrap up. Yes, so if anybody wants to actually throw anything out that you think I've been unscriptural on, please come and talk to me. I have no intention to offend. I have no intention. I do. No, I was going to lie to you then. I was going to say I have no intention to disrupt. I do have an intention to disrupt you. You know? Do you know the thing about what we're doing with the food business now? Where we're actually, because I'm going to end with this because I'm going to show you health perceptions, right? So, do you see all the adverts on TV of Tesco's, Asda, Morrison's all helping the food banks out? Yeah? Okay. That's a load of baloney. Seriously, right? Because, you know then, actually the Trussell Trust little boys that volunteer, they go along to Tesco's and they get all the stuff that's been put in the trolley. Yeah, have you seen this? Yeah, and they collect it all. Yeah, okay, so let me ask a question. Where's the trolley? It's this side of the checkout. You guys paid for it, not Tesco's. I mean, it's this side of the checkout. Tesco's only let them come and collect it from their premises. Do you see what I'm saying? But everybody believes Tesco's, Morrison's, all these, right, no. Your farmer, right, which is his kingdom work, the Giving Stream, which is the name of the company, quick commercial, the Giving Stream is giving it away this side of the checkout. The consumer is not paying for it. It's out of our profit. You can price check all the products you can buy off of your farmer. They're at the Tesco prices. The consumer is not paying for it. And actually, out of our last piece of profit, like I said, we plant these quail farms. We're planting them in Israel. I mean, actually, have I got time to do this 2 months? Have I got? Yeah? Let me tell you about the quail, because you're going to love this, right? It was the first food bank that God done. He fed them quail, didn't he? It's in the Bible. Why did he feed them quail? Quick story. So, you get your chickens, Okay, that bird becomes sexually mature at 16 weeks old. But you sort of eat a bird between 10 and 12 weeks old. Yeah? So you have your layers and you have your eaters. Yeah? And so you've got these layers and you keep looking after them and they keep laying your eggs and da-da-da, right? Let me tell you about the quail. The quail, female, reaches sexual maturity at 6 weeks old. Wow. So before I eat that bird, if I eat it at like 10 weeks-ish old, yeah, it gives me another 24 quail. So if I buy 1,000 eggs, I'll put them in the incubator, I have 1,000 birds. Before I eat those 1,000, I get 24,000. And then before I eat those 24,000, it's 24,000 times 24 by 24. See, because God's in the business of multiplication. You can't out-eat these little monkeys. You go from having food poverty in a village to having to steward abundance, because that's what the Father does. There is no reason for people to be hungry. It's just, again, the way we interpret things. Do you know how much it costs us to run a quail farm in a village in Kenya to like just eradicate food poverty? It's less than 200 quid. And it self-funds itself because you can take some of the quail eggs and quail and sell them. And you've got all these people suffering. Misinterpretation because you believe you need a load of money to actually make a difference. No, we don't. We have a Father in heaven and we have to co-labour with him. You know, and let me just finish with this, because on the co-labouring front, we went through some hard things. And you know, we did. Okay, and you know, it's through the hard things that you mature. Okay, bad teaching is that like you're not going to have them happen. Rubbish, right? Let's just look again at the Bible. Find people that actually the bad things didn't happen, right? The story is it happened. Yeah, I mean, take the guys that were put into the fire with Nebuchadnezzar. Right? I can't pronounce their names. I call them Tom, Dick, and Harry. All right. Not only did they go in the fire, Tom, Dick, and Harry, right? When they actually refused to give in, he increased the heat. When they exercised their faith again, you exercise your faith again, the heat goes up, right? And then they get thrown in the fire. But what we've got to see is Jesus doesn't have to be Lord to put out the fire. He's the Lord with you in the fire because he's in there. And then do work out that they were bound and shackled. In the fire, they were free. You find the freedom in your faith in the fire.
Amen.
You know? Look at Daniel. Yeah? In case you didn't remember, the lion's mouth did open and his head was in it. So we've got to get a completely different thing. Now, the one thing is when your faith dips, and half the time it dips because you put time in the equation and you put your own understanding on it. You're believing in him delivering you a solution. It is not a genie, okay? You know, and you've run out of 3 wishes anyway, right? They got used up in your infancy, you know? And so you're sort of there. And what actually happens is this. We've been made, okay, to co-labour with the Lord. When our faith disappears and we actually think, oh, that didn't happen. Oh, you know, da-da-da. Then your imagination starts running. Well, did you know that anxiety, that is, what is it now? 87% of everything that you're anxious about never happens. Doesn't even happen. But what you've just done is you've just lent your imagination to the devil because something didn't happen and you think, this might happen, that might happen, this might happen, that might happen. You see, because he's not a creator, the devil. You're the creator. He needs to borrow your imagination. Now, what's the worst? This is the bit I was coming to. You're co-labouring with the devil. You're lending him your imagination. Then the next thing is like, oi, give us your tongue. Because I want you to speak this out, because you have the power of creativity. Because you've been made in his image.
Yeah, got that.
So you see, this is why he doesn't want you to interpret this book right. Okay? because he doesn't want you to ever interpret right. The devil doesn't, because actually he wants your imagination. He wants you not to believe that everything is possible. He doesn't want you to actually take on these tasks. He doesn't want you to walk into your destiny. He needs your imagination. He needs your tongue, because you're the one that has dominion. You're the one that has power. Because here, if you go and check it, he's not even asking you to check in to do half the things he's asked you to do. He's just commanded you to go and do it. And I'll finish now.
Oh, bless you, Colin.